So actually today I brought a few tops with me and I'm going to show you how I hem it two ways lah. For actually this brown top, I'm going to crop it into this length. So today I brought these two tops together, and when you're trying to cut a crop top, right, you have to make sure that there's actually seam allowance. So even though the gap is this amount, I will probably cut this amount away. Yeah, so there's a bit of seam allowance, a bit of gap. I start by folding it in. And then using my scissors to cut. So once I'm done cutting it, it will look like this. How I'm going to be hemming this will be that I'll use a sewing machine. So I'll use one of the stitches, which I'll show you later, so that it forms a zigzag slash a bit of a rough finish. Yeah. So for this method, there's not much folding in to be done like normal hemming, which focuses on folding in and then after that sewing it. For this stitch I chose is actually a stitch that most like factories or those like if you buy Taobao or those clothes, there will be this kind of stitching inside. But when I sew it in the ends, it will form a zigzag look. So actually I finished hemming the top and it looks something like this. This is also similar to my grey top, which I did previously. So as you can see, the seams are quite zigzag. So the second way that I actually do to hem my clothes is actually by hand sewing. I think a lot of people who don't have sewing machine usually hand sew. So now I'll be using thread and needle lah. So actually once I've threaded my needle, I will tie a knot at the end. And then for this method of hemming, what I do is I fold the places that I want to seam. So it looks like this. Flap, and then I fold it in, and then I fold it in one more time so that inside there won't be any visible seams. What I do for this method, especially for stretchy clothing, is that I will sew a V shape. So I take a bit of the cloth from both sides, and then after that I secure the thread into the shirt first, like this. Then I take a bit of fabric and then sew it in like this. Then I do the same thing for over here. Pinch the fabric together and I take a bit to sew it in. So as you can see here, it forms a zigzag. Once I pull the stitch, I will loop my new thread with that stitch. So it forms like a blanket stitch but V shape. So after you're done, actually this is how it looks like. As you can see here, there isn't much of the seams visible. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.